The bass thundered through club euphoria, but all Onika could hear was the sound of her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. No, no, no. He found me. Her hands trembled as she clutched her cocktail glass. 6 months. She'd been free for 6 months. 6 months of finally sleeping without nightmares. 6 months of walking down the street without looking over her shoulder. 6 months of building a new life and soul, far away from everything that had hurt her. And now Marcus was here. In this club. Moving through the crowd like a predator who just spotted his prey. Their eyes met across the room, and the smile that spread across his face made her blood run cold. It was the same smile he'd given her right before. No. She couldn't think about that now. Onika? Girl, what's wrong? Jisoo grabbed her arm, concern flooding her face. But Onika couldn't answer. Marcus was pushing through the crowd, his jaw set in that familiar way that meant he was angry. Really angry. She had 2 choices: let him drag her back to hell, or trust a complete stranger who looked even more dangerous. Her desperate eyes scanned the VIP section. A man in a perfectly tailored black suit sat surrounded by guards, expensive bottles glittering on the table before him. Everything about him screamed danger, the tattoos peeking from his collar, the way his men positioned themselves like soldiers, the cold authority in his posture. Onika made her decision. She moved fast, slipping past the bodyguards before they could stop her. And then she did something completely insane: she sat directly on the stranger's lap. The man's body tensed beneath her. His crew reached for weapons. Time seemed to stop. But then his dark eyes met hers, and something shifted in his expression. Surprise. Then understanding. Please, Onika whispered desperately, her voice shaking. I'll explain everything. Just pretend you know me. Please. Welcome back to Afro-Korean Love Tales channel besties. Kindly hit the like and subscribe button as it will be of encouragement to me. The man's gaze moved past her shoulder. He must have seen Marcus approaching because his arms suddenly wrapped around her waist, possessive and protective at once. His lips brushed her ear as he whispered 3 words that changed everything: I'll protect you. Marcus's voice cut through the music. Get off him, now, Onika. The stranger stood, bringing Onika with him, still holding her close. When he spoke, his voice was low and dangerous, each word in Korean carrying the weight of an unspoken threat. His lieutenant stepped forward, translating with cold precision, "The lady is with Mr. Kim. Leave. Now." Marcus reached for her anyway, and that's when Mr. Kim's hand shot out, gripping Marcus's wrist with enough force to make him wince. 6 hours earlier. You're coming tonight, right? Please tell me you're coming. Jisoo's voice was bright with excitement as she video called Onika. Onika laughed, adjusting her phone while she organized her translations on her laptop. Yes, I'm coming to your birthday party. I already said yes 3 times. I know, but you always get so buried in work. Besides, you need to have some fun. When's the last time you went out? I go out. To the grocery store doesn't count, Onika. Onika smiled, but the expression didn't quite reach her eyes. The truth was, she was afraid of going out. Afraid of crowds. Afraid of running into someone who might know Marcus, might tell him where she was. But she'd been in Seoul for 6 months now. She'd changed her phone number, deleted all her social media, and told no one, not even her family, exactly where she was living. Marcus couldn't find her here. She was safe. Okay, Onika conceded. I'll be there at 10. What should I wear? Something hot. We're going to Club Euphoria in Gangnam. It's exclusive, expensive, and absolutely worth it. That evening, Onika stood in front of her mirror, barely recognizing herself. She'd let her braids down, applied makeup for the first time in months, and wore a black dress that actually made her feel beautiful instead of afraid. You deserve this, she told her reflection. You deserve to feel normal again. The club was everything Jisoo had promised: pulsing lights, expensive cocktails, and an energy that made Onika feel alive in a way she hadn't in years. She laughed with Jisoo and her friends, danced without worrying about who was watching, and for a few precious hours, she forgot about the past. That's when she saw him. Marcus stood near the bar, his eyes scanning the crowd. He hadn't seen her yet, but it was only a matter of time. Onika's breath caught in her throat. The room suddenly felt too hot, too loud, too small. I need to use the bathroom, she mumbled to Jisoo, already backing away. But as she turned, Marcus's eyes found hers. The recognition on his face was immediate. And so was the anger. Onika. His voice carried over the music. Onika. People were starting to stare. Marcus was pushing through the crowd, his hand reaching out like he had every right to grab her. Jisoo, he's here, Onika gasped. Marcus is here. Jisoo's eyes widened in horror. How? How did he find you? I don't know. Onika's mind was racing. She couldn't let him touch her. Couldn't let him take her outside. Couldn't let him win. That's when she saw the VIP section. The man sitting there was clearly someone important. Dangerous, yes, but important. The kind of man Marcus might actually be afraid of. What are you doing? Jisoo hissed as Onika started moving toward the VIP area. Something crazy, Onika whispered back. The bodyguards moved to stop her, but Onika was already past them, her desperation overriding her fear. And then she was sitting on the stranger's lap, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. His body was tense beneath her, solid and warm. She felt his muscles coil, ready to throw her off. Felt his man reaching for weapons. Please, she whispered, meeting his dark eyes. I'll explain everything. Just pretend you know me. Please. Kim Ji-hoon had been in the middle of a very boring conversation about a shipment delay when a woman suddenly sat on his lap. His first instinct was to have her removed. His second was to figure out which idiot had let her past security. But then he saw her eyes, wide with terror, desperate with hope, and something made him pause. Please, she whispered, her voice shaking. I'll explain everything. Just pretend you know me. Please. Ji-hoon's gaze shifted to the man pushing through the crowd toward them. He'd seen enough predators in his life to recognize one immediately. The way the man moved, the possessive anger in his face, the way he was zeroing in on the woman like she was property he needed to reclaim. Ji-hoon had seen that look before. On the face of his sister's boyfriend, right before. He pushed the memory away and made his decision. His arm wrapped around the woman's waist, pulling her closer in a gesture that would read as intimate to anyone watching. She gasped softly, but didn't pull away. Ji-hoon leaned close, his lips brushing her ear. I'll protect you. He felt her body sag with relief. The man, Marcus, based on what the woman had called out earlier, reached their table, his face red with fury. Get off him, Onika, Marcus demanded, reaching for her. We're leaving. Now. Ji-hoon stood slowly, bringing Onika with him. He positioned her slightly behind him, his body a barrier between her and Marcus. Ji-hoon said quietly. Get your hands away. Marcus didn't speak Korean, but the tone was universal. Still, he tried again. This is between me and my girlfriend. Stay out of it. Ji-hoon's lieutenant, Tae-sung, stepped forward. The lady is with Mr. Kim. Leave. Now. I don't give a damn who, Marcus started, but stopped when he really looked at the men surrounding Ji-hoon. At the tattoos. At the scars. At the cold professionalism in their eyes. Ji-hoon saw the moment Marcus understood what he was dealing with. Onika, Marcus tried one more time, his voice switching to a pleading tone. Baby, come on. We can talk about this. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Just come with me. She's not going anywhere with you, Ji-hoon said in English, his accent slight but his words clear. Marcus's hand shot out to grab Onika anyway, and Ji-hoon caught his wrist mid-reach, his grip vice-like. Touch her again, Ji-hoon said softly, his voice deadly calm, and you'll leave this club in an ambulance. Do you understand? The two men stared at each other. Ji-hoon saw Marcus calculating his options, saw the moment he realized he was outmatched. "This isn't over," Marcus muttered, jerking his hand free. "Onika, you can't hide from me forever. I'll find you. I always do." He disappeared into the crowd, but not before shooting Onika a look that promised retribution. Onika was shaking. Now that the immediate danger had passed, adrenaline was giving way to shock. Ji-hoon felt her legs start to buckle. "Taesung, clear the private room," he ordered in Korean. "And find out who that man is. I want his hotel, his flight information, everything." Taesung replied, already pulling out his phone. Ji-hoon gently guided Onika toward the back of the club, toward a private room where they wouldn't be disturbed. She was still trembling, her breathing shallow and fast. "Hey," he said softly, switching back to English. "You're safe now. Breathe." The private room was soundproofed, the heavy bass from the club reduced to a distant thump. Onika sat on the leather couch, her hands clasped tightly in her lap to stop them from shaking. Kim Ji-hoon poured her a glass of water from the bar, then sat across from her, giving her space. His men had positioned themselves outside the door. "Drink," he said gently, sliding the glass toward her. Onika took it with trembling hands, gulping down half the glass before she could find her voice. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was completely insane and I didn't know what else to do." "Don't apologize." Ji-hoon's voice was calm, steady. "Tell me what happened." And suddenly, Onika was crying. Not delicate tears, but the kind of deep, gasping sobs that came from 6 months of holding everything in. 6 months of pretending she was fine. 6 months of running. "I'm sorry," she gasped again, wiping furiously at her face. "God, I'm a mess." "You're not." Ji-hoon handed her a box of tissues, his expression unreadable. "Take your time." Onika took a shuddering breath, trying to compose herself. "His name is Marcus. We dated for 2 years back in the States. At first, he was perfect. Charming, attentive, everything I thought I wanted. When did it change? About 6 months in. Little things at first, getting jealous when I talked to other men, checking my phone, wanting to know where I was all the time. I thought it meant he cared." She laughed bitterly. "I was so stupid." "You weren't stupid," Ji-hoon said quietly. "Predators are good at hiding what they are." Onika looked at him, surprised by the understanding in his voice. "It got worse," she continued. "He started controlling what I wore, who I could see. My friends stopped calling because he'd make scenes every time we went out. My family thought I was pushing them away. But really, I was just trying to keep the peace. Trying to avoid making him angry." "Did he hit you?" The question was direct, but not unkind. Onika nodded, her throat tight. "The first time, he apologized for days. Bought me flowers, took me to an expensive restaurant, cried and swore it would never happen again." She twisted the tissue in her hands. "But it did happen again. And again. Until I stopped counting the times." "How did you get away?" "I planned it for months. Saved money secretly, applied for translation jobs in different countries, told no one. Then one night, when he passed out drunk, I packed a bag and left. I went to the airport and took the first international flight I could afford." "Seoul," Ji-hoon said. "Seoul," Onika confirmed. "I changed my number, deleted all my social media, didn't tell anyone where I was, not even my parents. I've been here for 6 months, working as a freelance translator, rebuilding my life. I finally felt safe." Her voice cracked. "How did he find me?" "That's what we're going to find out." Ji-hoon leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "Do you have any mutual friends who might have told him?" "No. I cut everyone off. It was the only way." "Social media?" "I deleted everything. Made new accounts under a different name." "Could he have tracked your phone or credit cards?" Onika shook her head. "I got a new phone here, new bank account, everything. I was so careful." Ji-hoon pulled out his own phone, typing something quickly. My people will figure it out. In the meantime, you can't go back to wherever you're staying tonight. He knows you're in Seoul now. He'll be looking. I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. Ji-hoon's dark eyes met hers. You need protection until we can deal with this situation. Deal with it how? Onika's voice was wary. That depends on what you want. I want him gone. I want him to leave me alone, to go back to America and forget I exist. She laughed bitterly. But Marcus doesn't give up on things he thinks belong to him. You don't belong to anyone, Ji-hoon said firmly. You understand that, right? You're not his property. Onika nodded, but she'd heard those words before from therapists, from hotlines, from well-meaning friends. It didn't change the fact that Marcus had never accepted it. I'll have my men take you to a safe location, Ji-hoon said, standing. Tomorrow, we'll figure out a more permanent solution. Why are you helping me? The question burst out of Onika before she could stop it. You don't know me. I literally just sat on your lap in the middle of a club. For all you know, I could be lying about everything. Ji-hoon was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough with old pain. I had a younger sister. Minseo. She was beautiful, smart, wanted to be a teacher. He turned to look out the tinted window overlooking the club. She met a man when she was 23. He seemed perfect. By the time we realized what he was doing to her, she was too afraid to leave. What happened? Onika whispered. She tried to run, like you did. But she didn't run far enough. Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. He found her. And he made sure that if he couldn't have her, no one could. The silence that followed was heavy with understanding. I'm sorry, Onika said softly. I'm sorry I couldn't save her. Ji-hoon turned back to face her. But I can help you. So I will. Before Onika could respond, there was a knock on the door. Taesung entered, speaking rapidly in Korean. Ji-hoon's expression darkened as he listened. What is it? Onika asked. Marcus is staying at the Grand Hyatt in Itaewon. He's been in Seoul for 3 days. 3 days? Onika's blood ran cold. He's been here for 3 days? My people are looking into how he found you. Ji-hoon pulled out a business card and a pen, writing something on the back. This is my personal number. Call me if anything happens. Anything at all. Onika took the card with shaking hands. I don't want to owe people, especially not. She trailed off, suddenly aware of what she'd been about to say. Especially not a gangster? Ji-hoon finished, a slight smile touching his lips. Smart instinct. But think of it this way, you've already seen my face, you know my name. If you were in danger from me, you'd already be in it. It was terrible logic, but somehow, Onika believed him. Besides, Ji-hoon added, his voice softer, you're not going to owe me anything. Call it payment for the best distraction I've had in months. That shipment meeting was incredibly boring. Despite everything, Onika found herself almost smiling. Thank you, Mr. Kim. Ji-hoon, he corrected. If you're going to sit on my lap, you should at least call me by my first name. This time Onika did smile, just a little. Thank you, Ji-hoon. 3 days passed like a held breath. Onika went back to her small apartment in Mapogu, triple-checking the locks and jumping at every sound. She tried to work on her translation projects, but found herself reading the same sentences over and over, unable to concentrate. On the second day, she noticed someone following her to the convenience store. Her heart had nearly stopped until she recognized him, one of Ji-hoon's men from the club, keeping a discreet distance but clearly watching. She didn't know whether to feel grateful or worried about what it meant that a mafia boss had assigned her a bodyguard. On the third day, she came home to find flowers outside her door. Onika knew what they were before she even saw the card. Red roses, a dozen of them, arranged in an expensive crystal vase. Her hand shook as she picked up the small envelope tucked among the thorns. The message inside was written in Marcus's handwriting. You can't hide forever, baby. I always find what's mine. We need to talk. The vase slipped from Monika's hands, shattering on the hallway floor. Water and glass and blood-red petals scattered across the tile. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers barely able to work the screen. She pulled out Ji-hoon's card and dialed the number with shaking hands. He answered on the second ring. Onika? He knows where I live. Her voice came out as a whisper. Ji-hoon, he knows where I live. There are flowers outside my door. Lock your door. Don't open it for anyone except me. His voice was sharp, commanding. I'm sending Taesung now. I'll be there in 20 minutes. How did he find me? Onika was backing into her apartment, sliding the chain lock into place. I was so careful. So careful. We'll figure it out. Just stay inside. 20 minutes. Onika sank to the floor with her back against the door, clutching the phone like a lifeline. She could hear movement in the hallway, her neighbor probably wondering about the broken vase. Or maybe it wasn't her neighbor. Maybe it was. A knock on the door made her jump. Onika SSI? A male voice called in accented English. I'm Taesung. Mr. Kim sent me. She peered through the peephole and recognized the lieutenant from the club. Still, she didn't open the door until she heard Ji-hoon's voice through the phone. It's okay. That's Taesung. Let him in. The bodyguard was professional and efficient, checking her apartment room by room before positioning himself outside her door. Onika sat on her couch, arms wrapped around herself, trying not to fall apart. True to his word, Ji-hoon arrived exactly 20 minutes after the call. He was dressed more casually than at the club, black jeans, a simple t-shirt, leather jacket, but somehow he still carried that same aura of controlled danger. Show me the flowers, he said without preamble. Onika led him to the hallway. Ji-hoon crouched down, examining the scattered petals and broken glass without touching anything. His jaw tightened as he read the card. He's escalating, Ji-hoon said quietly. This is a power play. He wants you to know he can get to you whenever he wants. It's working, Onika said, her voice barely steady. I'm terrified. Ji-hoon stood, his dark eyes serious. Pack a bag. You're not staying here tonight. Where? My penthouse. It has security, cameras, a doorman who knows not to let anyone up without my explicit permission. He held up a hand before she could protest. This isn't optional, Onika. If you stay here, he'll come back. And next time it won't be flowers. Ji-hoon's penthouse was in Gangnam, on the top floor of a sleek glass building that probably cost more than Onika would make in her entire lifetime. The elevator required a key card to access the penthouse level, and there were cameras everywhere. The security system is connected directly to my phone, Ji-hoon explained as he unlocked the door. If anyone tries to access this floor without authorization, I'll know immediately. The apartment was exactly what Onika expected, modern, minimalist, expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Seoul skyline, glittering with lights. Everything was in shades of black, white, and gray, except for a few pieces of art on the walls. Guest room is down the hall, second door on the left, Ji-hoon said, setting down her bag. Bathroom is attached. Kitchen is fully stocked, help yourself to anything. I have to go out for a few hours, but Taesung will be outside if you need anything. You're leaving? Onika tried to keep the panic out of her voice. Ji-hoon's expression softened slightly. I have some business to handle. But you're safe here, I promise. No one can get to you. After he left, Onika explored the guest room. It was bigger than her entire apartment, with a king-sized bed, a desk, and windows that overlooked the Han River. The bathroom had a massive tub and a shower with about a dozen different settings. She should have felt grateful. Instead, she felt trapped. Onika unpacked her small bag. She'd only brought clothes for a few days, convinced she'd be able to go back home soon, and then sat on the edge of the bed, trying to figure out how her life had spiraled so completely out of control. 6 months ago, she'd escaped. She'd been free. Now she was hiding in a mafia boss's penthouse, dependent on a dangerous stranger for protection against another dangerous man. Around midnight, she heard the front door open. She tensed, then relaxed when she heard Ji-hoon's voice speaking Korean to someone, probably Tae-sung. There was a soft knock on her door. "Onika? Are you awake?" She opened the door to find Ji-hoon holding several shopping bags. He looked tired but his eyes were kind. "I realized you probably didn't bring much," he said, offering her the bags. "These are just basics. If you need anything else, make a list." Onika peered inside and her throat tightened. He'd bought her toiletries, comfortable clothes in her size, and, her eyes widened, her favorite American snacks. Cheez-Its. Reese's Cups. Pop-Tarts. "How did you know?" she whispered. "I have my sources." Ji-hoon smiled slightly. "Also, your friend Jisoo was very helpful when I called her to let her know you were safe." "You called Jisoo?" She was worried. "You disappeared from the club without saying goodbye." He leaned against the doorframe. "She also told me you've been in Seoul for 6 months and apparently live on Pop-Tarts and instant ramen." Despite everything, Onika laughed. "Jisoo talks too much. She cares about you." Ji-hoon's expression grew serious. "Did you eat dinner?" Onika shook her head. "Come on. I'll make something." She followed him to the kitchen, watching in surprise as he pulled out ingredients with practiced ease. "You cook? Does that surprise you?" "Kind of, yeah." Ji-hoon smiled, a real smile this time, not just the slight upturn of his lips. "My mother insisted all her children learn to cook. She said depending on others for your basic needs made you weak." "Smart woman." "She is." He started chopping vegetables with impressive knife skills. "She's going to love you, by the way." "What?" Onika nearly choked. "Why would I meet your mother?" "Because she's going to ask about the woman staying at my penthouse, and I'm a terrible liar." Ji-hoon glanced at her with amusement. "Don't worry. I'll tell her you're a friend who needed help. She won't pry." They fell into comfortable silence as Ji-hoon cooked. Onika found herself relaxing for the first time in days, watching him move around the kitchen like it was the most normal thing in the world for a mafia boss to be making kimchi fried rice at midnight. "Why are you really helping me?" she asked suddenly. Ji-hoon was quiet for a moment, his hand stilling on the spatula. "I told you about my sister. You said she died trying to escape." "She died because I wasn't there when she needed me." His voice was rough. "I was too busy with business, building my reputation, proving myself. She called me the night she left him. Told me she was scared, that she thought he might find her. I told her she was worrying too much. That she was safe." Ji-hoon. "She died 3 days later." He turned off the stove, plating the food mechanically. "He found her at a motel in Busan. The official report said murder-suicide, but I know the truth. He killed her because she tried to leave. Because she thought she had the right to choose her own life." Onika's eyes burned with tears. "I'm so sorry. I swore after that, never again. If I ever had the chance to help someone in that situation, I would." He set a plate in front of her. "So that's why I'm helping you. Because I couldn't save Minseo, but maybe I can save you." They ate in silence, the weight of shared trauma hanging between them. When they finished, Onika helped him clean up, their movements synchronized in a way that felt oddly domestic. "Thank you," she said softly. "Not just for tonight. For everything." "Get some rest," Ji-hoon replied. "Tomorrow we figure out how to make sure Marcus can never hurt you again." Over the next few days, an unexpected routine developed. Ji-hoon would leave for business in the mornings, and Onika would work on her translations in the guest room. Tae-sung was always nearby, a silent presence that was both comforting and unsettling. Ji-hoon would return in the evenings, usually with food or some small thing he thought she might need. They'd eat together, sometimes in silence, sometimes talking about everything except the situation that had brought them together. "Tell me about Ji-hoon," said one evening as they sat on his balcony, the soul light spread out before them. Onika smiled. I was born in Lagos, but my family moved to the States when I was 10. I haven't been back since. Do you miss it? Sometimes. I miss the food, the music, the way everything felt more alive. She pulled her knees to her chest. My mother makes the best jollof rice. She used to say it was the taste of home. You should teach me how to make it, Ji-hoon said. You want to learn how to make jollof rice? Why not? I already know Korean food, might as well expand my repertoire. So the next day, Onika found herself in Ji-hoon's kitchen, teaching a Mafia Boss how to make proper Nigerian jollof rice. He was a surprisingly good student, following her instructions carefully and only setting off the smoke alarm once. More tomatoes, Onika instructed, trying not to laugh at his concentrated expression. And you need to let it simmer longer. Jollof rice is patient food. Patient food? Ji-hoon raised an eyebrow. You can't rush it. The flavors need time to develop, to marry each other. She stirred the pot, the familiar scent making her heart ache. My mom used to say cooking jollof was like building a relationship. You need the right ingredients, the right timing, and patience. Your mother sounds wise. She is. She's also going to kill me when she finds out I disappeared to Korea without telling her exactly where I was living. You haven't told your parents? Onika shook her head. I told them I was in Seoul, but not my exact address or workplace. I was afraid Marcus would contact them, try to trick them into giving him information. Would they tell him? Not on purpose. But Marcus is charming when he wants to be. He could convince them he was worried, that he just wanted to make sure I was okay. She tasted the rice, adding more seasoning. It's better if they don't know. Safer. Ji-hoon was quiet, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. You've been carrying this alone for a long time. I didn't have a choice. You have one now. He moved closer, his presence warm at her back. You don't have to do this alone anymore. Onika turned to look at him, surprised by the intensity in his eyes. For a moment, something passed between them, an understanding, a connection that went beyond protector and protected. The moment was broken by Onika's phone ringing. She didn't recognize the number, but something made her answer it. Hello? Onika. Marcus's voice made her freeze. We need to talk. Ji-hoon was beside her instantly, his hand on her shoulder. He mouthed, put it on speaker. With shaking hands, Onika did. I don't want to talk to you, Marcus, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I want you to leave me alone. Baby, don't be like that. I came all this way to find you. The least you can do is hear me out. How did you get this number? I have my ways. Just like I have ways of finding out where you're staying now. Marcus's voice took on a harder edge. Nice place in Gangnam. Very expensive. Who's paying for it, Onika? Is it that Korean guy from the club? Ji-hoon's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. That's none of your business, Onika said. Everything about you is my business. You're mine, Onika. You've always been mine. And I'm not leaving Korea without you. Then you're never leaving, Onika said, her voice stronger now. Because I'm not going anywhere with you. We'll see about that. The threat in Marcus's voice was clear. I'll be in touch. He hung up. Onika stared at the phone, her hands shaking. He knows where I am. He knows about this place. He's bluffing, Ji-hoon said calmly. There's no way he could know about this penthouse. But we're going to make sure. He pulled out his own phone, speaking rapidly in Korean. Within an hour, Ji-hoon's security team had swept the entire building and increased patrols. But the damage was done, Onika's fragile sense of safety had been shattered again. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed to hide a threat. Around 3 a.m, she gave up and went to the kitchen for water. Ji-hoon was already there, standing by the window with a glass of whiskey. Can't sleep either, he asked without turning around. Every time I close my eyes, I see him. Onika leaned against the counter. I keep thinking about what he said. That he's not leaving without me. He's not taking you anywhere, Jihoon said firmly. I won't let that happen. You can't watch me forever. Eventually, I'll have to go back to my real life, and when I do, then we make sure there's no threat waiting for you. Jihoon turned to face her, his expression serious. I've been making some calls. There are ways to handle this situation. What kind of ways? Legal ways, mostly. We can document his harassment, get a restraining order, have him deported. Marcus doesn't care about restraining orders. Then we make him care. Something dangerous flashed in Ji-hoon's eyes. Men like him only understand one language, power. We show him that coming after you means coming after me. And no one is stupid enough to come after me. I don't want you to hurt him because of me. You think this is just for you? Ji-hoon's voice was intense. Men like Marcus don't stop with one victim. If we don't stop him now, he'll hurt someone else. Maybe he already has. The thought made Onika's stomach turn. She'd been so focused on her own survival that she hadn't considered Marcus might have moved on to someone else after she left. What do you suggest? She asked quietly. We set a trap. You meet with him, public place, lots of witnesses, and you'll be wearing a wire. We get him on recording making threats, admitting to past abuse. Then we hand everything over to the authorities along with evidence of any illegal activities he might be involved in. And if he doesn't take the bait? Then we try option B. Which is? Ji-hoon smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You let me have a conversation with him. Korean style. The next morning, Onika woke to frantic knocking on her door. She stumbled out of bed, disoriented, to find Ji-hoon standing in the hallway with his phone in hand, his expression dark. What's wrong? She asked, fear immediately flooding her system. Your apartment. Marcus broke in last night. Ji-hoon showed her his phone, photos from what looked like a security camera. Her small apartment had been completely trashed. Furniture overturned, clothes thrown everywhere, dishes smashed on the floor. Onika felt sick. Oh my god. There's more. Ji-hoon swiped to another image, words spray painted on her wall in red, you can't hide from me. Her legs gave out. Ji-hoon caught her, guiding her to sit on the edge of the bed. He's escalating faster than I expected, Ji-hoon said grimly. This isn't just about getting you back anymore. He's angry. Humiliated. That makes him more dangerous. What do we do? Onika whispered. My people tracked his movements last night. He's been posting on social media, American expat groups, teaching forums, anywhere he thinks someone might know you. He's offering money for information about your whereabouts. This is insane. He's insane. Yes. Ji-hoon crouched in front of her, his hands on her knees. Which is why we need to end this now. Today. Are you ready to face him? Onika thought about the past 6 months. The fear. The hiding. The constant looking over her shoulder. She thought about Min-seo, Ji-hoon's sister, who'd run but hadn't run far enough. She thought about the woman she used to be before Marcus, confident, bold, unafraid. Yes, she said firmly. I'm ready. They spent the morning preparing. Ji-hoon's tech expert, a young woman named Hannah, fitted Onika with a nearly invisible wire. Taesung briefed her on safety protocols, hand signals, exit routes, panic phrases that would bring the team in immediately. Remember, Ji-hoon said as they sat in his office going over the plan one more time, stay in public. Keep the conversation where cameras can see you. If he tries to get you to go somewhere private, you refuse. What if he causes a scene? Then we have witnesses. That works in our favor. Ji-hoon's eyes were intense. But Onika, if at any point you feel unsafe, if your instincts tell you something is wrong, you use the panic word and we extract you immediately. Understood? Understood. Say it. What's the panic word? Min-seo, Onika said softly. Ji-hoon had chosen his sister's name, a reminder of what was at stake. Ji-hoon reached out, tucking a loose braid behind her ear in a gesture that was surprisingly tender. You're stronger than you know. But you don't have to be strong alone today. We'll be right there. Onika had sent Marcus a message that morning. You want to talk? Meet me at Cafe Onion in Anggukdong. 2 p.m. Come alone. His response had been immediate. I'll be there, baby. I knew you'd see reason. The cafe was perfect for their purposes, large, always busy, with plenty of security cameras. Ji-hoon's people had arrived early, positioning themselves at strategic points. To any observer, they looked like ordinary customers, but Onika knew they were watching her every move. Ji-hoon himself sat in a corner, partially hidden behind a newspaper, but his eyes never left her. At 2:05 p.m., Marcus walked in. Onika's breath caught. She hadn't seen him this close in 6 months, and the sight of him triggered a visceral fear response. Her hands started shaking. Her heart raced. But then she felt the slight weight of the wire against her skin. Remembered Ji-hoon's words, "You're not alone." Marcus sat down across from her, his smile warm and familiar. This was the Marcus most people saw, handsome, charming, the perfect boyfriend. Onika. God, I've missed you. He reached for her hand across the table. She pulled away. Don't touch me. His smile faltered. Baby, come on. Don't be like that. I came all this way. I didn't ask you to come. I asked you to leave me alone. You don't mean that. Marcus leaned forward, lowering his voice. I know I messed up, okay? I know I have anger issues. But I'm getting help. I've been seeing a therapist. I'm changing, Onika. For you. For us. There is no us, Marcus. Don't say that. His jaw tightened, that familiar sign that his temper was rising. We had something special. You can't just throw that away. You threw it away when you put your hands on me. Onika kept her voice steady, aware of the wire recording everything. When you controlled where I went, who I talked to. When you made me afraid to exist in my own life. I was protecting you. Marcus's voice rose, drawing glances from other customers. He forced himself to lower it again. You don't understand how this world works. Men look at you, they see an opportunity. I was keeping you safe. By hitting me? By isolating me from everyone I loved? That's not protection, Marcus. That's abuse. His hand shot across the table, gripping her wrist hard enough to bruise. Don't use that word. I never abused you. I loved you. I love you. Let go of me. Onika tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. Not until you listen. You're coming back with me. Back to the States. Back home where you belong. I'm not going anywhere with you. Yes, you are. Marcus's mask was slipping now, his voice taking on that dangerous edge she remembered too well. You think you can just run away? Make a fool of me? Everyone knows you left. Everyone's asking questions. Do you know how that makes me look? I don't care how it makes you look. Well, you should. He was leaning across the table now, his face inches from hers. Because if you don't come back willingly, I'll make your life here a living hell. I'll find out where you work, I'll contact every client you have, I'll tell everyone what a manipulative bitch you really are. That's enough. Ji-hoon's voice cut through Marcus's tirade like a knife. Marcus's head whipped around, his eyes widening as he recognized Ji-hoon from the club. You. This is between me and my girlfriend. Walk away. She's not your girlfriend. Ji-hoon moved closer, and suddenly Tae-sung and 2 other men were there too, forming a subtle barrier. Let go of her. Now. Marcus released Onika's wrist but didn't back down. Who the hell do you think you are? Someone with more resources and less patience than you have. Ji-hoon's voice was deadly calm. You've made threats. Destroyed property. Harassed and stalked. All of it is on record now. All of it admissible in court. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult my intelligence. Ji-hoon pulled out a folder from inside his jacket and dropped it on the table. That's very interesting reading. Your drug connections in Los Angeles. The women who filed police reports against you, reports that mysteriously disappeared. The money you've been laundering through your business. Marcus's face went white. You're lying. Open it. With shaking hands, Marcus opened the folder. Onika watched the color drain from his face as he flipped through page after page of documentation, photos, bank records, police reports, witness statements. How did you? I have excellent resources, Ji-hoon said. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave this cafe. You're going to go to your hotel, pack your things, and get on a flight back to the United States tonight. If you ever contact Onika again, a call, a text, a message through a friend, all of this goes to the Korean authorities and the DEA. Do you understand? You can't. I can and I will. Ji-hoon leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more threat than any shout. And if legal channels don't work? I have other methods. You're in my city now, Marcus. In my country. Where the rules are different and your American passport means nothing. Do you really want to find out what happens to men who hurt women here? The two men stared at each other. Onika could see Marcus calculating, trying to find an angle, a way to win. You have two choices, Ji-hoon continued. Leave Korea tonight and never contact Onika again. Or stay, and spend the next decade in a Korean prison where no one speaks English, where your money and connections mean nothing, where every day is a fight for survival. What's it going to be? Marcus looked at Onika one last time. She met his gaze steadily, refusing to look away, refusing to show fear. This isn't over, Marcus muttered. Yes, Onika said quietly. It is. Goodbye, Marcus. He stood abruptly, nearly knocking over his chair. You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not leaving you sooner. Marcus stormed out of the cafe. Ji-hoon immediately signaled to his men. Follow him. Make sure he goes to the hotel and nowhere else. I want confirmation when he's at the airport and when he boards that plane. Then he turned to Onika, his expression softening. Are you okay? Onika realized she was shaking, adrenaline and relief flooding through her in equal measure. I did it. I actually did it. You were incredible. Ji-hoon gently took her wrist, examining the red marks Marcus had left. His jaw tightened. He hurt you. I'm okay. It's just bruises. But as she said it, tears started flowing. Ji-hoon, is it really over? Is he really going to leave? My people will make sure of it. And we have enough evidence now that if he ever tries to come back, he'll be arrested the moment he lands in Korea. Ji-hoon pulled her into his arms, and Onika let herself collapse against his chest, finally allowing herself to feel safe. It's over, Onika. You're free. That night, at 11:47 p.m., Ji-hoon received confirmation that Marcus had boarded a flight to Los Angeles. Onika was curled up on Ji-hoon's couch when he told her, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, his cat, a fact she'd only recently discovered, purring in her lap. He's gone, Ji-hoon said, sitting beside her. Really gone. Onika closed her eyes, letting the reality sink in. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For him to come back. He won't. We've also filed the paperwork for an international restraining order. If he comes within 100 miles of you, he'll be arrested. Thank you. The words felt inadequate for everything Ji-hoon had done. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. Ji-hoon was quiet for a moment, his dark eyes studying her face. Have dinner with me. What? Dinner. Tomorrow night. As equals, not as protector and protected. He smiled slightly. Are you asking me on a date, Mr. Kim? If you'll accept, despite everything you know about who I am. Onika considered him, this dangerous, complicated man who'd saved her life, who'd shown her kindness when he could have walked away, who'd trusted her with his own pain. I should say no, she said slowly. You're dangerous. Your world is dangerous. Everything about this is complicated. But you saved my life. You saw me as a person, not a victim or a burden or property. She reached out, taking his hand. You gave me my freedom back. So is that a yes? Onika smiled, a real smile, the first one she'd felt in months. Yes, Ji-hoon. It's a yes. 6 months later. No, you need to stir it more. It's going to burn. Onika laughed, grabbing the spoon from Ji-hoon's hand. I am stirring it. Not enough. Jollof rice is serious business. You can't just, Ji-hoon, are you even listening? He wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. I'm listening. I'm also distracted by how beautiful you look when you're bossy. I'm not bossy, I'm instructional. There's a difference. He pressed a kiss to her neck, making her shiver. Your mother is going to be here in an hour and this rice is nowhere near done because someone keeps distracting me. My mother loves you. She won't care if the rice is perfect. It was true. Ji-hoon's mother had adored Onika from the first meeting, and had been enthusiastically teaching her Korean in exchange for cooking lessons. Last week, they'd spent an entire afternoon making kimchi together while Ji-hoon's mother told embarrassing stories about his childhood. The past 6 months had been unexpected in every way. Onika had moved into her own apartment, a safer one in a building with better security, but she spent most of her time at Ji-hoon's place anyway. Her translation business was thriving. She'd even started teaching English part-time at a language academy. And Ji-hoon had become her partner in the truest sense. Not her savior, not her protector, but her equal. Someone who challenged her, supported her, made her laugh, and wasn't afraid of her strength. I got an email from my mom today, Onika said, tasting the rice and adding more seasoning. She wants to visit next month. Good. I want to meet her. You're not nervous? Should I be? She's going to grill you about your intentions. And your job. She's definitely going to ask about your job. Ji-hoon smiled. I'll tell her the truth, that I'm an import-export, which is technically accurate. And that my intention is to make her daughter happy for as long as she'll let me. Onika turned in his arms, her hands resting on his chest. What if I said forever? His eyes darkened with emotion. Then I'd say I'm the luckiest man in Seoul. They kissed, slow and sweet, until the rice timer went off. Later that evening, after Ji-hoon's mother had left with promises to return next week for more cooking lessons, Onika sat at her laptop. She'd been writing, not translations this time, but her own story. The story of a woman who ran, who survived, who found unexpected sanctuary in the most unlikely place. What are you working on? Ji-hoon asked, bringing her tea. Something personal. I think I want to share my story. Maybe it could help someone else who's going through what I went through. You're incredible, you know that? I'm a work in progress. Onika took the tea gratefully. Some days are still hard. Sometimes I still have nightmares. And on those days, I'm here. I know. She pulled up a photo on her laptop, the two of them at a traditional Korean restaurant, both laughing at something the photographer had said. They looked happy. They looked right together. Ready for the trip next month? To meet your family? Terrified, but ready. Onika laughed. My dad is going to love you. Fair warning, though, my mom is going to want to feed you until you can't move. I look forward to it. Ji-hoon pulled her close, and they sat together in comfortable silence, watching the Seoul lights twinkle outside the window. Onika thought about the night 6 months ago when she'd sat on a stranger's lap out of pure desperation. How terrified she'd been. How certain she was that Marcus would find a way to drag her back. She thought about Ji-hoon whispering "I'll protect you" and meaning it. But more than that, she thought about how he'd given her the tools to protect herself. How he'd stood beside her, not in front of her, when she faced her demons. How he'd seen her not as something fragile to be guarded, but as someone strong enough to fight her own battles, with backup when she needed it. What are you thinking about? Ji-hoon asked softly. That the scariest monster I ever faced wore a familiar face and claimed to love me, Onika said, echoing the words she'd been writing. But you showed me what real protection looks like. Not control, but freedom. Not possession, but respect. Ji-hoon kissed her forehead. You saved yourself, Onika. I just made sure you had a safe place to land. We saved each other, she corrected, taking his hand. And it was true. Because while Ji-hoon had given her physical protection and resources, she'd given him something just as valuable. She'd given him the chance to honor his sister's memory. To turn his grief into purpose. To prove that sometimes, you do get a second chance to save someone. Come on, Ji-hoon said, pulling her to her feet. It's late. Tomorrow we have that appointment with the lawyer about your permanent residency visa. And then Korean language class. And then I'm taking you to that new Nigerian restaurant that opened in Itaewon. You don't have to. I want to. He cupped her face in his hands. I want to know every part of you. Your culture, your language, your history. All of it. Onika's eyes filled with happy tears. I love you. It was the first time she'd said it. Ji-hoon's face transformed, a genuine smile breaking through his usually controlled expression. He whispered. I love you too. As they walked to the bedroom, hand in hand, Onika felt something she hadn't felt in years, hope. Real, unshakable hope for the future. She'd run from darkness and found light in the most unexpected place. She'd lost herself and found herself again, stronger than before. And she'd learned that sometimes, the boldest thing you can do is ask a dangerous stranger for help, and trust that not all dangerous men are dangerous to you. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories, and comment below telling us what you thought about Onika and Ji-hoon's journey. What would you have done in Onika's situation? Let us know. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are stronger than you know, and you never have to face your battles alone.